Greetings, Earth Ones. So, your own spiritual and personal evolution is the most important thing. It should be above all else. It should be number one priority and the number one thing you're focusing on. Reason why is because everything else comes later. The more you evolve within yourself and the more you evolve within your own being, everything else in your life is then going to begin to change with it. I'll give you an example. So use myself for example. For years, I've struggled with addiction, repetitive, destructive cycles of behavior, toxic friendships, poor intimate relationships with partners that always ended in chaos and destruction. And these patterns have been reoccurring throughout my life, no matter how hard I tried, no matter how much I pushed and dedicated and applied myself. I always seem to fall off or fall back to my addictions, fall back to my low level behaviors, end up in another toxic relationship, surrounding myself with these people that I said I weren't going to surround myself with. And it was like an endless merry-go-round of repetitive cycles. And some days I just wanted to give up. It's like, I've had enough of this. But what I didn't do is I didn't give up. I didn't throw the towel in. I continued to push forward. I continued to be persistent with my growth and my own personal evolution. Where I am now within my being, that has been the byproduct of endless bounds of suffering. Now, you cannot bypass this stuff. Me saying focus on your own evolution, that doesn't necessarily mean you can do all these spiritual practices and completely dismiss or bypass all the deep work that you need to do within yourself. And you can't bypass the pain, you can't bypass the trauma, you can't bypass the struggling. It is all part of the contract. It's all part of what you're here to do. You need to work through that shit. But I can promise you now, all these addictions, these toxic relationships, these negative tendencies, they will eventually fall off you. Grace will do its thing if you allow it to. If you just be patient, you continue to work on yourself, you continue to be invested in your own personal growth, these things will deteriorate the more you elevate and the more you raise your frequency and vibration. Because to get to the next level, if you're vibrating at a higher frequency, these things that were lower are vibrating on a lower frequency, they're not gonna be able to come with you. So when you go to the next level, some things have to go. And you may have noticed that pattern throughout your own life. If you've evolved to another stage of your life, or you feel like you've been through a spurt of personal growth, maybe current, past, present, whatever. If you've been through that, you'll recognize that some things had to change in order for you to get to that next level. And if you haven't recognized that yet, that may be the thing that's holding you back right now. Recognizing that these things that you're holding onto, you're latching onto, these are the things that are keeping you stuck on this very level. These things need to go. There might be a relationship you're holding onto. It might be a bad habit that you're holding onto. If you want to elevate to the next level, you need to be willing to let things to go. And that I can give gratitude to the Father, but gratitude to myself as well, that I've allowed myself to let things go. When I've been very good throughout my life, looking back and reflecting now, actually allowing myself to let go or cut things off that I had noticed wasn't serving the higher path. Fortunately, I believe there's always been this little voice that's just been telling me like, no, come on, just keep going. This ain't right. Like, and I can cut off and feel, once I've done that and I've cut that cord, there might be a bit of resentment. I feel like resentment's the thing that follows detachment sometimes. It does sometimes with me. I recognize that pattern. There might be initial spark of resentment initially, which allows a smoother detachment because it allows me to not be held on emotionally to this person, for example, when I detach from them. So that emotion gets alchemized into resentment, which is only temporary. And maybe that's something I need to work on within myself, because I understand resentment's never good and you should never sit, pardon me, in the holes of resentment for very long. If you sat there right now, if you're holding any resentment towards anyone or anything, the best thing you can do for yourself is forgive that person or forgive that situation or whatever's happened, and peacefully detach from that and let go of that resentment, because you're only keeping yourself a prisoner. You're always keeping yourself slave to this resentment or this negative emotion you're attaching to this person or circumstance. So where was I going with this? So the reason why I'm mentioning that is, once again, as you evolve naturally and organically, it's not gonna just you wake up one day and it all happens. Like, I think that's what we perceive in our minds. I know I did. I thought that I'm just gonna do this one thing. I'm just searching for this one big thing. It's gotta be this thing. No, it's gotta be this. I've done the plant medicine, I've done therapy, I've done coaching, mentorships, and reading all the books and watching all the podcasts. These all have relevance. I'm not taking anything away from these things. I think they do all hold relevance. But your personal evolution is happening on its own. It's happening organically. So you have to have patience and you have to allow these things to unfold and these changes to happen naturally. So like the addictions, going back to that, the reason why I keep pinning back to that is because it's been a very reoccurring or very big factor of my previous journey leading to where I am now, because it was just repetitive and relentless. So that didn't fall off until I got myself to a certain place within myself. That's when that began to fall. That's when everything just fell off. And when I got myself to this certain level or this certain frequency, whatever you like to call it, these vices, these addictions, these tendencies, they just held no power over me anymore. They couldn't control me. They couldn't manipulate me. They didn't have the power, energetic power or pull to pull me back in that direction anymore. Not saying the thoughts completely eradicate. The thoughts will still be present, or they will still surpass. They will come in and out, but they no longer have that emotional charge to act out on that thought. So yeah, just keep focusing on your own evolution and keep focusing on your personal growth. And I promise you now, these struggles and the things that you're facing, they will fall off you and you will outgrow them naturally. I can promise you and assure you of that. You just got to keep going and keep moving forward. There's a little analogy I like to throw of the eagle. So when you think about an eagle, crows like to latch onto the eagle's back when the eagle's flying in the sky. The eagle could way outpower the crow. It's miles more powerful, miles more smart. The eagle could kill the crow in seconds. But it doesn't react. It doesn't even try and get the crow off its back. What the eagle does in order to get the crow off the eagle is it just begins to rise. It just starts elevating in the sky. And once it hits a certain altitude, the crow just falls off its back. It has to fall off. It cannot handle that high level of altitude. So how can you now transfer that into your life? The more you elevate, just trust in the process, and these things that you're struggling with, they will fall off you naturally. Just, you have to trust the process. And it's easier said than done at times, I get it. But as long as you're focused on your internal state and developing within yourself internally and not distracting and running away from that, because a lot of these things in the outside world, they're put here to distract us from us tapping into our true authentic being and tapping into our essence, our divine spark. That's why everything in the world is here to grab our attention, distract us, pull us away from the truth, our truth. So honing in on that, honing in on yourself, giving yourself the patience and the time and the space to heal, to grow, that is going to be, or should be, the main part of your journey, or the main focus of your daily practice, or your worldly pursuit should always be personal evolution, because everything else comes after that anyway. Like, the more you evolve into yourself, let's take it from a monetary standpoint, because we've all chased money, or we're all somewhat chasing money right now. The more you chase it, the more it runs away. Just gonna have to throw that at you. But the more I am feeling abundant, the more I am feeling at peace, the more I am feeling aligned with myself and my authentic being, the more money is going to be attracted to me, the more it's going to flow to me and through me, because I'm more aligned, I'm feeling more abundant in myself. And the lower vibration is, if I'm feeling abundant with myself, I'm emitting that energy, I'm saying I have everything I need, so you're getting more of the same. Like I say, if you're always chasing and you're thinking more, lack, you're putting that energy out there. So you're going to be forever chasing that money because you're always transmitting, or you're always putting out the frequency of lack. That's the frequency you're vibrating on. So you're going to just get that in the same. It's law correspondence, as above, so below. Your internal state reflects your external rather than the other way around. What you're feeling internally is projected on the external world. So yeah, that's the message there. Just hone in and just trust yourself, be patient, and just truly focus on your own spiritual evolution and growth. And don't try and bypass any of this stuff. You can't bypass the deep work that needs to be done. It's very, very relevant. And this is why people stay stuck on the same level forever, because they don't beat the final boss. They don't do the difficult work. They don't put themselves in the uncomfortable situation. They don't look at themselves in the mirror. They don't look at the scars, the shadow, the wounds. People avoid this stuff. Even the higher level spiritualists, the new age movement, a lot of that is spiritual bypassing, because people are evolving the trauma and just going all light. They're all love, all light. I'm love and I'm light. Well, to a certain extent, you're right, but that doesn't dismiss all this shit that you've got to work through. You've still got trauma. You've still got karma. You've still got negative cycles of behavior. These people, they're all love and light until they get hit with the darkness. Until darkness comes. Imagine when chaos strikes to love and light. These people are all airy-fairy and avoiding the light by spiritual bypassing and proclaiming themselves to be awakened. What happens when chaos hits? They ain't gonna be ready for that shit. They ain't gonna be ready for that. You've got to be willing to sit in the darkness and make love to that, because it's part of your being. You've got to learn to integrate, accept, and love, and move on. And that's the next level of transcendence. Once you've experienced, you've sat through your darkness, you've been through hell, you've suffered, you've felt the pain, you've come through the other side of the addiction, you've come out of that toxic relationship, you broke through all these people, you're finally starting to feel inner peace and an equilibrium in your state of being, and feeling like you don't need anything else other than yourself. You get to this state, but you also, throughout this process, you recognize that, yeah, I'm here now, but the darkness is still within me. The darkness hasn't gone anywhere, but it's acknowledgement of that and choosing to love it and accept it as part of your being. Now, that's true healing and that's true growth, but I'm going to cut that there. And the message here, dissect anything you would like from that, put it through your own lens. But the main one is just, yeah, keep focusing on your internal state and fixing yourself, or healing from the inside out, and focused on your own growth and your own personal evolution, and cut out everything, all the noise that's going on in the outside world, because that's all it is. It's noise, it's distraction, it's irrelevant. Cool, guys. Signing out.